Are we live yet? IT? Is it going? Okay, there we go. We got green on the green on the stream. Chat, pause right away, but we're going, chat. In the middle of battle, in the heat of action, Pacers versus Cavs. Game 1 is in the fourth quarter right now, so we're jumping on clutch time minutes are ahead here. We've got 7:44 exactly left on the Sling TV stream as it hits commercial break. So, no Garland tonight for the Cavs, but this, I think, was going to be a battle of a series anyways. I guess I don't know what the series line was for this, or like what the Cavs were over under for Cavs expected to win this in, chat. But if you guys do remember, of course, these teams did play in the playoffs last year, and of course, as we all know, Indiana was the team that lost to the Celtics in the conference finals. So, again, Indiana did take down the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs last year. And this is an interesting matchup and just an interesting playoffs in general because, obviously you get a win over a team in a playoff series in a previous year. And it's like there's real basketball things, of course, that can work. And it's like, okay, here's actual matchup stuff that you can point to with these two teams as a reason to why this might be a good battle. But more so, chat, I think this is an interesting series because, again, as we've talked about sort of just over the course of the year, the depth of the league, how talented everybody is. The league is so, stacked right now. Everybody's got great players, and who's going to emerge in the playoffs. And you kind of see a lot of, again, it's great, a lot of great players that we would kind of expect, but it's been an interesting playoffs for, like, the playoff swagger type guys because I think that was a reason that we really liked Edwards versus the Lakers in that series, and just Minnesota as a team in general. That's a good matchup for, the Lakers is, a team a lot of those bigger forwards on the team to balance out sort of Reeves and some of the backcourt guys, and Minnesota of course just has the ability defensively to match up very well with what LA puts out there. But if you just have Edwards elevating in the playoffs and in these moments and really outperforming, the other star players that he's going up against. And we literally saw that last year with him taking down Jokic. And ultimately Luka was the one that got the victory over him in the Western Conference Finals last year, and Luka was the one representing the West. But again, Edwards is still, I think, got a lot of playoff swagger, of course, from that run that they had, and were able to, in a way, overachieve a little bit and go to the conference finals. And the Pacers, chat, as well, too, were another team, like we talked about, in the conference finals last year. And I know personally for me, like, I wasn't necessarily crediting them the same way that I was crediting Edwards with, like, oh, like, let's lock in. Like, again, I was trusting Minnesota as a playoff team, trusting Edwards, trusting Naz Reid as well. Like, we've seen Naz Reid be a good playoff performer, chat. So it's like, okay, was it a hot streak? For sure. But also, again, Naz Reid had a really good year. So I just trust him in these moments to have these big games. He does as well too. Gobert as well had like a 20-20 performance, of course, in that closeout game. That was fantastic, chat. But again, Indiana was a team that made that run, and Haliburton and some of these guys and the swagger that they have, like, they kind of have the swagger of a playoff team. And again, specifically against this Cavs team, chat, like, they're unafraid of this team. They literally got a win against them last year. And like we said, game 1, the Cavs don't have Garland, so they're already, a little bit weaker there as well too. I know, well, I guess, we'll mention the Garland stuff, I guess, a little bit more here in a second. But you've also, for the Pacers side of things, have added Mathurin back into the equation as well too, because if we remember correctly, if I remember correctly, chat, he wasn't in the playoffs last year. Oh, wait, real quick, chat, let me mute the screen. I'm gonna log into the stat head real quick. Sorry, we wanted a smooth, ad-free experience when we're looking up the stats, chat. We got to get to these Mathurin stats without any distractions. But it's tied right now. And again, the Cavs could definitely close this one out. Mitchell's had good moments, and it's been a battle here. But you're seeing that Indiana on the road, game 1. They're going toe to toe, chat. It doesn't even matter. But here we go. Okay, we're logged in. So yeah, Mathurin had that season-ending injury last year. How many games did he even end up registering if we remember correctly here. Let's see. I don't know, chat. We're getting yellow on the internet today instead of our normal green signal. So, okay, no, we're back to green. So if it powers the live stream, then we're good to go. We can wait. We can be patient with loading the Benedict Matherin stats real quick. Struess with the sneaky fill up the box score game. He's got a 7, the triple single, 7-6, 3 assists. So maybe he needs, of course, I think get to that 5 threshold, that 3x5 game, I think is that triple single. Come on, chat. Okay, now we're losing pace, and we got to check out these stats. And I just want to remember some of these stats for the whole series, like Mitchell's performance as well too, because chat, Neesmith off the side of the backboard. But again, I mean, the Pacers at one point, I think it might have been going into half, if I remember exactly when I checked the stats. Of course, I check out the stats a couple times throughout the games going before we jump on here, chat. But there was one point in the game, and I guess we could just look as well right too now to see where they're at. But they're still at 53% from the field and 55% from 3. 6:01 left in the fourth quarter, so the box score just about. The sync is getting closer, chat. Pause. It's we're about 15 seconds off this time, so this is good. Good. Sling TV is catching up. Okoro from the corner, not able to get it to go. But there was a point where they were like 60% from the field and 59% from 3. Okay, here we go, chat. Finally, we're logged in. Okay, 59 games played last year, 19 games started. And, yeah, didn't log any playoff games at all before this year. So, 4 games this year, 10 points a game, 42, almost 43% for the field, 13% from 3, chat. It's not like he's been necessarily lighting it up, but he's been having a good performance today. Yeah, 11 points, 4 for 10 from the field, so I think he's missed his last couple. But 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Okay. Again, you just look at the team percentage as well, too, for Indiana, and everybody is, having a pretty good all-around shooting game. Nemhard from deep, chat. I mean, there we go. 107 to 102. Nemhard with the deep 3. He's where's he at right now, chat? 18. So Nemhard with 18 and Haliburton with 18. And this is where the Garland piece, I think, is going to be really interesting going forward in this series, because I think, I can't even remember, was it Sham's tweet that I read? The quick tweet that I read, just like, okay, let's check out Darius Garland's status real fast, see what's going on. It said that he was basically like probably could have played today, but they're being extra cautious with it. So, game 1, they're at home. Oh, and Turner just miscommunication with Nemhard, chat, throws it out of bounds. 5 minutes left. Uh-oh. It's not quite Milwaukee collapse level stuff, but, hopefully they didn't pause, rub off on him. It's crazy, chat. But, again, just watching it, hopefully it's not something that they just accidentally picked up on, which is still unbelievable that it happened, chat. I mean, Giannis, it's unfortunate. I don't know. Shout out to Doc Rivers, but I don't know what it is, chat. Some of these guys, it's like the reverse sort of I guess, we've already spoiled Sinners enough on this chat. It's like the reverse Sinners, where some of the singers can summon the vampires, chat. It's like Doc Rivers just somehow always summons a crazy collapse in a playoff game. It's just what it is. It's just what it is. Somehow Gary Trent Jr., or whatever, somehow there's a couple of turnovers. But like we said, even Giannis, not necessarily a great look at the end of the game, and then gets beat on, Haliburton gets him on the crossover going to the basket. Like, Haliburton driving on Giannis, you just think Giannis, even if he gets crossed over, still may be able to get a swat on the chase down level scenario. Haliburton, though, not able to get the step back 3 over Jared Allen on that possession there. So, yeah, for the game right now, Cleveland only 24% from 3. Uh-oh, chat. But anyways, back to the Garland piece, because it's Ty Jerome with that little mid-range, get the defender behind him in the, what do they call it, chat? Get him in jail! And then just that little floater right over the big man. But, again, I think maybe they were thinking, what can we get away with here without Garland? Because, ultimately some of the matchup stuff with him versus Miami doesn't really matter that much, just because you're so much better than Miami. But Garland's just one of those guys that's gonna get attacked defensively, chat. So, you're they started Sam Morrell in place of Garland, or I guess whoever they started, chat, in the technical spot. Strus, I guess. Shout out to the cat, but I think Strus would be the normal starter. Morrell off the bench, typically with Jerome. So there is the argument that maybe you move Jerome into the starting lineup if you want the second, ball handler next to Donovan Mitchell, the same way you do with Darius Garland, and just say, hey, just let's run our best guys in a playoff series. But either way, they go to bring him off the bench. But with Garland, again, they go a little bit bigger with Morrell. There's a little bit more of some of the off-ball shooting stuff, and then I know depending on what happens here, like if they're not able to close out this game, that is going to be a piece that I'm sure Cavs fans are going to look at, because again, Garland is an all-star. But again, you're still bringing Jerome off the bench, so in terms of what dynamics are different from Cleveland this year and the Pacers this year versus last year, and just what is different in the series rematch, like, the Cavs have DeAndre Hunter, of course, is a big addition as well too in the wing rotation, and they bring in Strus and some of these guys as well. But really, I mean, of course, one of the biggest impact guys, Chad, has been just Jerome off the bench as well too. And I know, he got our 6th Man of the Year vote here. The REMINGTOM Awards, Ty Jerome, shout out. Hopefully he got his award, and it's sitting proudly on the mantle with his other awards, Chad. His national championship. I don't know, was he like an all-tournament outstanding player that year? And then right next to that is the REMINGTOM 24-25 6th Man of the Year award. So hopefully it's displayed proudly. But yeah, he got our votes, and his dynamic off the bench is one of the biggest changes that the Cavs would have. Again, if we're saying if we have to look at this series from last year, go, okay, how do the Cavs get past the Pacers? Because again, the Pacers were the ones that took them down last year. And I guess here we'll just get these stats back up just to remember like injuries maybe or something like that as well too, that I'm not fully remembering the way that our Pacers fans in the chat it's gonna be scarring them, of course. Well, I guess, are you guys scarred? But yeah, probably not losing to the Celtics. I guess the Cavs fans would be more scarred. The Pacers fans, you guys are probably just happy being in the conference championship last year. It was a good season, of course. But let's see here, chat. Where we got Haliburton. So did he get hurt and miss the last couple of games? Okay, so that's obviously, a big turning point in the series. But again, and an overtime loss with his first game in there, gets hurt a little, looks like early in game 2. Okay, chat. Okay, so there is definitely a big piece again with them versus Cleveland. Oh, is that right? That the Cavs lost to the Knicks, chat. Okay. But either way, the playoff swagger point still stands. But the Cavs lost to the Knicks. Who did the Cavs lose to? Do they have the right playoff series pulled up here? What's going on with Haliburton's playoff pages, chat? Who did the Cavs? Let's go back to Mitchell and see if we're getting this all lined up. I mean, make no mistake, the REMINGTOM pod, probably the league leader in getting NBA history confused. That's for sure. I don't think at least not yet, chat. We haven't quite fallen into the Skip Bayless reading the Barry McCockiner tweet as like a real report. But in terms of definitely confusing years in playoff series and matchups, I feel it's all in there, chat. It's just sometimes it's like, oh wait, that CD is not supposed to be in that case. That game is not supposed to be in there, chat. However you want to, use it, that pause. But let's see here, chat. So playoffs, Orlando, and then they lost to Boston. Is that what happened? Cleveland versus Boston? Why am I not remembering a Cleveland-Boston playoff series, chat? Probably because these games were not very rememberable. 95-120 in game 1. Game 2, 118-94. So Cleveland, of course, getting the win there. But again, not like a super memorable game. 106-93 is a little bit more of a battle, chat. Tatum with 33, Brown with 28, Mitchell with 33, Garland with 15. Okay, chat, Mobley with 17 as well. Jared Allen did not dress, so it doesn't say, was he injured, chat? And, you know, if you're projecting even like a next series potentially, again, if Boston's able to get past the Knicks and then going a rematch in Cleveland versus Boston, like maybe there's still Jared Allen question marks there, but he was good for him in the start of the second half here with bringing him back in the game, because they were kind of matching him small a little bit with certain possessions throughout, chat, but like in the first half. But then they just went with, of course, with that starting lineup, the two bigs to open the second half. And there was still some defensive stuff with the rotations out to three. Like I think Nesmith might have had a corner three at once. Somebody hit a three over Allen at one point, chat. But they just kept getting Allen rolling to the basket, and he was able to get good looks, and it was, you know, working for him there for a second. So for Allen's playoff career versus the Knicks, and then versus the... So he got hurt in the Knicks series, chat? Or this is the 23 playoffs. And then, of course, Orlando 24. And then, so he would have got hurt in the Orlando series. And then back for Miami this year. Which, 3 for 5. Not necessarily a big shooting game. But -1, chat. Plus, okay, there he goes. Making up for it in game 4. Plus 42 and plus 20 in the final game. Shout out, chat. Like we were saying, some of the matchup stuff with Allen, it's like, okay, or with Garland, it's like they're going to be anyways. But it is interesting anyways just to see. I mean, again, there's the starting dynamic of how do you balance the whole game with Darius Garland. Like Darius Garland's just a piece you need to have out there in terms of a 48-minute basket. And we're getting a TV freeze right on a Rick Carlisle disgruntled face, chat. I guess I don't know if that's the TV or if that's the broadcast, chat. Somebody stepped on a cable, but not a pleasant look for our guy Rick Carlisle. That's kind of scarring, I'm not gonna lie, that face that he just made. But at least the one that it got froze on there for a second. I wish we could have done a screen share on the screen, but then the NBA immediately, the bots, chat, their NBA would have the security AI bots take down the stream just immediately. The NBA is top-notch copyright stuff, chat. It is what it is. But again, you got the whole 48-minute dynamic with Garland, which he's definitely going to help. Just having an extra ball handler with his offensive ability, there's going to be certain stretches of the game where it's going to be valuable. But closing games with Jerome in this lineup, chat, is going to be interesting. I mean, there's 2:20 left now. They are down by 8. And Jerome's not able to get the ball in bounds. They're going to have to take a timeout, chat. So the final 2:20, are they going to have one timeout left? Down 8? Okay. I think Indiana's got 2 timeouts themselves. But maybe that's just a situation you find yourself in anyway. So then again, it's like, how do we balance the whole game without Garland? And I don't want to get, like, again, too big picture. They're only down 8 in a game 1 here. And Indiana is, again, a team that made the conference finals last year. So they're a team that's not going to be afraid of any of these teams in a playoff series. But maybe there is some stuff with Garland where you're like, okay, you know, Jerome, I'm pretty sure Jerome is going to be a free agent next year, chat. Or, you know, this offseason. Not next offseason, because that's a big difference, chat. Make no mistake. One more season with Jerome under contract? It's like, please. And especially whatever contract he would be on right now as well, too, chat, because it would not probably be totally reflective of the player he is at this point. I think he might be... I'm not sure if he's on like a 1 year. Oh, chat, look at that. AI knows. We've looked at the Ty Jerome contract before, so apparently the retention on the Ty Jerome contract information is not great, but I'm pretty sure he is an expiring. Yeah, chat, 2 years, $5 million. Holy cow! Ty Jerome, put him top 10 in the trade value league. Biannual exception. Jesus, chat. Ty Jerome is $2.5 million a year. So make no mistake, the man is definitely going to be getting a raise this offseason. And I don't know, you know, what like the bird rights situation is with Ty Jerome, if you're able to re-sign him, you know, outside of just using your cap space. And again, they're already like a really expensive team, chat. So it's not like And they're already a second apron team, so again, I guess you could just continue to go into the second apron. But if you're going to have to make a decision with some of the contract stuff and you're like, okay, which guard would we rather have? I'm just saying maybe that is something to keep an eye on here as these playoffs unfold is I know we were talking about the Mitchell-Garland dynamic, chat, but what do they have to choose between Ty Jerome and Darius Garland? What if? Haliburton cooking Jared Allen. There it is. Now the Pacers are up 10, a little 15-4 run here in the fourth quarter to close. Mitchell, chat, some of the one-on-one ISO stuff, a tough step back for three. I mean, luckily Strus able to get the offensive rebound. Not able to get it to go, though, but tough look for our guy Donovan Mitchell. But let's see here. With the Garland contract, Garland, most expensive guy on the team, so Mitchell has a little extension that it looks like will kick in. And that's not Mitchell's still on a pretty good deal, to be honest, chat. Like, I know that still some of the numbers adjusting are all, there's still like a reprogramming that's always having to take place with the way the raises are being handed out. But, you got like Karl Anthony Towns. There's just a lot of guys that are in this $50 million a year range that I think that is a fair range for Mitchell, where with his status on this Cavs team as like a lead guy, 60-plus wins, he's like, okay, is Mitchell, have a case? And I guess I don't know with the All-NBA is what he's even eligible for. Like first team bonuses versus third teams and all that stuff. But is there like a $50 million or a $70 million, $60 million a year case for Mitchell in there as well too? So that's a good value going forward for Mitchell going forward for sure. But you see there's just a lot of those, like semi-expensive contracts. Again, you're going to have Garland and Mitchell both 40 to 50 plus, and then Hunter, Allen, Strus. You're going to have Mobley in the 40 pluses there as well too, and then Hunter, Allen, and Strus all 15 to 20 plus million. I mean, Allen even gets into the 30 plus millions under contract till 28, 29. Chat, jeez, Jared Allen, he's like, I want that financial security, and Jared Allen. It looks like there's not like any player options or any non-guarantee things going on here, so I guess I don't know if it's just all guaranteed in general, but it seems like a nice deal for Jared Allen to be on for sure. But again, it's an expensive team. Where's the second apron stuff here, chat? Second apron space. So they go into this offseason with $16 million in the second apron space. If that reads correctly, chat. Here, let's go to the team cap real quick. 43 seconds, Indiana up by 8. So it's still like, okay. Collapsed. I guess this is in that historic territory, which what is the exact stat for Milwaukee? I know it's a little specific, but it's still kind of like, okay. And I forget exactly what it was. It was like 7 points with 40 seconds left. And I guess the more impressive thing about the stat was the fact that it's like, okay, these playoff teams, when they're up by that much, or I guess even that little, in a way, with that little time, like they're just closing out the game, A team that good is just going to be able to close out the game. They've literally never lost in that scenario. But it still just on paper doesn't seem impossible. Like 7 points in 40-some seconds, especially in the three-point era, like a couple of shots, a couple of free throws or whatever. It doesn't seem necessarily too outrageous. But again, like there's just nobody's ever done it before. And unfortunately, Doc Rivers coached the first team that ever did, chat, once again. So there you go, a little sidestep 3. Was that Jerome or Strus? We're half paying attention to the game. We've also got, at this point, we were trying to watch a little baseball, a little Dodgers. Chat's like, do we need to check out the Dodgers? Defending champions. Seems like they're, well built to make a title run again this year from some of the headlines that we've been seeing just on the TV wandering around the restaurant, chat. But and I guess I don't know if that's totally true or not, but just some of the scores, it seems like they're in good shape. So it's like, okay, maybe we do check them out a little bit. And we did see one Ohtani at bat, but unfortunately some of the, again, streaming limits, chat, we had to pick our events wisely. So we went to the ESPN Plus. We're watching a rerun of last night's Fight Night, which was held in Des Moines, chat. Shout out. Held in the home state here of Iowa. So good to see. Anytime the big professional sports are making their way into the into the home state. It's a big deal. And not only do we have, I mean, it's just a big sports weekend for Iowa, kind of in general, Chad. Who knew? Iowa, the center of the ESPN universe, anyways. We had a UFC fight night and an WNBA preseason game. I mean, we're moving up in the world, chat. The state is moving up. I think we're trying, we're trying to make moves. It's a slow, but in terms of, again, some of the event entertainment stuff, it's a slow process. I don't know if we're necessarily, like making a Ty Jerome level leap here, chat. But these are good events to be getting. I guess, just, again, shout out to Caitlin Clark for just elevating the state. And she's elevating leagues, chat, elevating states, elevating economies. I mean, come on. This is why, and it's not just her, chat. There's other people doing it in the WNBA as well, too. But, again, it's for us, it's specific to us because it's literally impacting, the home state and cities close by, hometowns, shout out. But, impressive that... Oh, chat, unplug the mic, yikes. Testing 1 2 3. Oh, there we go. Testing 1 2 3. Unplug the mic, chat. We're back. The streak of unplugging the mic during the live stream has resumed, chat. Who knew? But okay, I think we're good to go again. But I was there. I mean, chat, it was another great day out today. So we were like, okay, WNBA preseason game. I think we can record this one and potentially go back and rewatch some of the stuff. But we got back for the end of the game, and it was like when we turned the game on, it was like 102-38. So I was like, okay, Chad, as much as I'm going to be excited to go and see the initial hype of seeing Caitlin Clark playing professional basketball in her hometown state and, her college city, it seemed like maybe it was a good decision to spend a little time in the sun instead of being planted in front of the TV for that one, because again, maybe that's a bit of a shorter rewatch than maybe the full game. But, shout out. You never know, Chad. Again, it's only our own ignorance here on the REMINGTOM pod for not scouting out the Brazilian team that they were playing beforehand. But you just don't know. Some of these national teams. I mean, you get the NBA correlation that happens in the preseason where they go overseas and they're playing some of these teams, and it's like, okay, again, these all still kind of turn out to be preseason games. But, I mean, that was, chat, that was like, I think, honestly, maybe the most, like, egregious scores you see in the football and basketball world anyways are I was going to say, like, 116, like, in the women's brackets. Obviously, some 116s in the men's brackets, especially, maybe 20 teens and stuff. Like, really some dominant performances there. I guess we could look up the biggest one, chat, but pause. But the women's side of the bracket, those 116 matchups, especially like UConn and stuff. Again, those are like the scores you get for those games, like the 103-30, and it's like, oh man. But I think even more so than the 1-16 is the early season. Again, the same version, not even the preseason, but the just those first couple of regular season games. Where I guess here, let's see like what South Carolina had they had a massive game 1 in the tournament this year as well too. Or I guess UConn was the national champion this year, so we could look up. I guess in UConn went into the tournaments at a 2 seed, so they maybe had a little tougher schedule to start the season. But there's gonna be, at least one easy matchup in there, Chad, just to get everything right. But those seem to be like the most impressive blowouts that you'll get in sports. And so you got UConn versus Boston University, game 1 of the season, 86-32. So 54-point win, chat, is, I guess, outside of Thunder Grizzlies game 1 of the playoffs, is right in there. So I guess, what did that final score end up being here? Let me look, because it'll probably be quicker to look it up here than on the computer chat. Oh, apparently not. They don't give you the WNBA preseason games on Bleacher Report. Come on, Bleacher Report. What are we doing? Bleacher Report canceled. Give us the score for the Caitlin Clark game. Maybe just hide. We don't even need the box score, chat. With all due respect, look at this, chat. The disrespect. Where's the WNBA hidden in here? Here we go. Okay, right next to the WNBA versus F1. I don't know, chat. Seems like the WNBA maybe is a little bit more. Oh, did we not go? There we go. maybe a little bit more impactful. 44 to 108. Jeez, chat. I mean, that is crazy. You got a 101 to 68 here for UConn. A 100 to 57. A 101 to 59. Oh, here we go, Chad. Yeah, first round of the tournament. UConn beat Arkansas State 103 to 34. Yikes. 103 to 34 is crazy. So, Indiana Fever, basically a 116 matchup here in the game one. In Seattle, with a dominant win over Connecticut as well, too. I mean, shout out the Brazilian team, chat. Valiant performance for sure. But, again, the Fever did work. The Fever did work in the offseason. You see Dewana Bonner. I'm pretty sure that Brianna Turner is new as well, too. Michaela Timps. I mean, a lot of these bench names definitely seem new. Cunningham, Jaylen Brown, chat. They've got Jaylen Brown on the Fever. No wonder they won 108 to 44 for sure. Lexi Hall still there. Bree Hall. I mean, it seemed like they kept, and you know, I don't think they got rid of like the bad pieces from last year, but again, they kept a lot of impactful pieces in the right spot. Like, I think, again, Kelsey Mitchell, efficient day. Like, she just seems like a really good scorer next to Caitlin Clark. Because, again, she's got that kind of score-first, aggressive mentality, whereas Caitlin Clark, you know, obviously can't be a bucket getter, Chad. I mean, you see today as well, too, leading the lineup in shot attempts, 6 for 10, 4 for 6 from the field. Leading the lineup in general in plus-minus as well, too, so the impact was there. What was the assist number for her, Chad? 5, 6 rebounds, so 16, 5, and 6. I could see that again. I mean, what was she last year? Like 18 and 8 in that range. So again, this is preseason game, like a couple of in 19 minutes. She's 16 and 5 and 8. Did we do a little 36 per 36 per? I guess, you know, again, probably not the perfect correlation for WNBA competition, but still, just as like a what could the stats look like in year 2 if the usage stays the same. You know, that's definitely a thing. And I guess, do they do a per 36 or like a per 30 on here, chat? Just to get it right. But I guess per 36 anyway. So, yeah, she's 30.3 points a game in the per 36 if she does like this level of scoring performance. You know, the minutes in the points production. Same thing, chat, as last year. Yeah, last year she was 19, 8 and 5, almost 8 and 6 last year from the field. 41% from the field, 34% from the 3. So again, you see the efficiency immediately move up, chat. But 6 rebounds here. Let's see, she's looking at 11 rebounds a game. Imagine, chat. Caitlin Clark, holy cow, the triple double is what it looks like. So I mean, again, she's going to be in that 10 rebound, 10 assist a game range, which I could, you know, her being, again, 30 and, again, I mean, I guess you don't want to put anything off the table. It's just, I don't know what necessarily the points correlation necessarily how it all works out, chat, sometimes. Because I think maybe the highest scoring season for the, let's see here, chat. What's like the highest points per game total season? And I guess we could look at the highest assist game as well, too. Like, I mean, you know, obviously she's in that that Jokic, Doncic with the stats and, you know, the impact on that stuff as well, too. But with the stats as well compared to some of the other players where she could just put up those insane numbers. So she could easily have a season where, you know, you know, are we glazing Caitlin Clark here again, chat? But, you know, again, we're biased. It is what it is. But, you know, she could have a season, I think, where she breaks the assist and the point record in the same season. So that would just be an insane offensive season in general for the team. If they're, you know, how much scoring are they doing, chat, that she can, you know, all put up points, and then also everybody around is just insane. That, you know, that Pacers 60% shooting for the entire season, I guess. But where are the career stats here for the WNBA? They need, I mean, Basketball Reference, I feel like it's getting close to where they need maybe their own page. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but just for some of the navigational ease of it, chat. I mean, And I feel like at this point as well too, there's enough going on. There's enough history. There's enough like all this stuff. It's all still got the same function of the NBA, the draft, the players, the free agency, all the same stuff. So the awards, and we're 25 plus years in at this point. So just give it its own page, chat. Basketball, and I know you want to start labeling everything, the W and whatever. I remember that was a thing for a second when it was like, I guess for a second, we're not like, oh, it's not a thing anymore. But one of the early conversations that I remember hearing about was like, there was the lady Vols, and they were like, why is it's like, oh, they have to be the lady Vols, and then it's like, why they're just the Vols, they can't be the men's Vols. It's like, I get it, but just it's like, okay, well the link's already taken, so what do we do at this point, chat? I guess do we have to just give them the basketball reference link and go mbasketballreference.com? It's like there it is, chat. See, hey, yo, pause. But as a person, can I say we're growing as a person in front of? I mean, don't cancel us, chat. We're trying not to be canceled here, so pause. But it's like, hey, wait a second, you could just give it the M label. That's also a possibility. But I guess we'll send them an email and see what we can do about the links, chat. But we need its own page, either way, or I just need to be better at navigating it. Is this per game or in game stats? Aja Wilson with 53 in game. So I mean, again, so Maya Moore put up 48. Okay, you see a couple of like front court players up here at the top having like the really like high end performances. Whereas, I mean, I guess you would have that in the NBA with Wilt having his 100-point game. But, you got Kobe with the 81-point game as the number 2. It does feel like a lot of, again, with some of the usage stuff, especially now, like a lot of the guards in the three-point shooting have a lot of the higher scoring performances. But, 53 is crazy. I don't know if I would say this year, again, not taking anything off the table, but that's a crazy number, chat. 53 in game. So where's the per game stats? I want the per game stats. This shouldn't be this difficult to locate. What are we doing here? Come on, come on, basketball reference. Clean up your WNBA page. We're fans, chat. That's why I think, we can put them on blast. Or they're just going to call us out for our navigational abilities. It is what it is. But let's see. Do they... it's probably just... No, see, where's the per game? Where is the per game, chat? I don't know. I guess, do they have just like a year-by-year leaders? Because, see, they need all this stuff for the W. They have all this stuff for the NBA. It's just easy to locate. You can look it right up. I need the stats, chat. I need to go back in history. I'm trying to learn here. I'm trying to figure out what these highest performances are. I guess, do they just have a... Here we go. Leaders, chat. I think we're going to get there eventually. Here we go. Here's the page we're looking for. Holy cow. Embarrassing navigational ability by us. But also, like we're saying, Basketball Reference, it's time for their own page. But points per game, single season, okay. 5 minutes later. I mean, the entire intermission between Pacers, Cavs, and Rockets, Warriors. Literally, we looked down at the computer to research. They were at the broadcast wrapping up that game, and we looked back up, and they're at the broadcast table for the next game. It's like, oh, wait a second. Greg Anthony just turned into Stan Van Gundy. What just happened? But no. Next game, Rockets versus Warriors is underway. Game 7, chat. Here we go. First Game 7 of the playoffs for the NBA this year. This is why we play the playoffs. We don't play the playoffs for the winners. We just play it for the emotion that builds toward a Game 7, chat. Because let's be honest, the Spurs aren't playing in Game 7, so 28 of the other teams, we can't even do math, chat. 28 of the other teams don't even actually care who wins. We just like the excitement of, we're getting to Game 7. This is fun. This is going to be intense. What's going to happen? Amen Thompson, Steph Curry, one more time. And on the like the NBA Instagram post promoting the game, they're like, tune in for tonight's game. It's Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler versus Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green. And you're like, okay, well, on paper, the sound of that, I feel like we know who the confidence is in. So maybe it's just that easy, chat. But, of course, the Rockets have played better the last couple of games of the series here. The defense has gotten to Steph Curry. I mean, maybe the injury has gotten a little bit worse as well, too, though maybe it's like, as he's saying, it's getting better. Just like who knows how it's actually playing out and affecting his performances. But, and then you just have, again, the Rockets not just playing better, but that's also them just getting more comfortable in this playoff stage. Like, that's the sign of a team developing, Chat, on that playoff level. It's like we're talking about getting that playoff swagger. Like, you can, of course, experience playing in the playoffs, but it's like, oh, we're in the playoffs. Oh, hey, we can hang with this team. We're comfortable. Let's go. Like, we're unafraid. We are embracing the moment and, still playing our best basketball. And that's what we're getting here these last couple of games with Houston and Steph Curry as well, too. There's, real legacy stuff about, just off the Jalen Green off the back cut right away. It went back to Sengun, but okay, so good defense by Green and the Warriors, Chat, right away. But yeah, so A'ja Wilson at 26 a game is the record. So, you could, and that was, last year, Chat, shout out. But you could easily see, and Jewel Lloyd a year ago as well, too, a couple seasons ago, 24 a game. Breanna Stewart, 22, 23 a game. So, you see the scoring averages and the scoring leaders, of course, as you would expect, same with the NBA. Just as basketball is evolving, as the players in the skill level evolves in both leagues, those numbers are going up. Like we're saying now, a couple of seasons ago, there was that season where 10 guys were scoring 30 points a game for most of the year. But, could Caitlin Clark, and again, I like A'ja Wilson leading the league in scoring, I think is totally still fair. Actually, do they have odds on WNBA scoring leader? And I would assume as Caitlin Clark led the WNBA in assists last year, she would be the odds-on favorite to lead the WNBA in assists again. And Golden State gets the first look, Chat. So it's 2-0, and there we go. Oh, make it 5-0, Draymond. If anything, we're talking about Steph's Game 7 series legacy here with the 3-1 stuff. But, in that finals, Draymond, it's always debated about the impact of losing him for that one game and what that meant for the entire series. But he was awesome in that Game 7, Chat. He was outstanding. Like, that's one of really, there's a lot of stuff that, it's, I guess, forgotten stuff about that game is not really true because, again, it's one of the most iconic rehash games I think that we have with this generation. But you've got he had almost a 40-point game. Like, you don't think about him having those type of scoring numbers. There is some stuff about, are they going to let Draymond get the shots off? And if Draymond puts up 40, it's like, well, hey, Draymond put up 40, and what did we do? I guess we lose to that kind of performance. But, it's like, okay, if Michael Cooper back in the day puts up, and I guess, is Draymond probably a little bit of a step up as an overall player than Michael Cooper? I guess some of the scoring numbers might not be too far off, but I think his overall game was maybe a little bit more capable. But it's like, okay, if Michael Cooper puts up 35 in a Game 7, you're probably going to end up winning that game. But, he's a big-time clutch performer, Chat, as much as some of the stuff can maybe, as much as it's intended to get under your skin, like as much as it seems like, of course, it crosses the line. It's like there's a reason you keep Draymond around because he shows up in these moments, Chat. He shows up. And you can debate about, his fit, his place in the league outside of the Warriors at this point in his career. Like, what does he mean for the Warriors' future with his contract? But it's times like this that you go, okay, money well spent, Chat. He's a legend, and he is going to be the one that is just emotionally ready for these type of Game 7 moments. And against a young team, there's just there's literally, no other guy you'd rather have on your team in a Game 7. Well, I guess, there's probably a couple of guys, but once you get down the list far enough, Chat, you'll get to Draymond, and then it's like, yeah, that's a totally fitting spot. But let's see here. Do they have WNBA odds going for some of the preseason stuff here? I guess maybe just in the basketball stuff in general, Chat. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to get odds for the preseason games, which we could definitely start dabbling in as well, too. I don't know, what the spread is going to be on the next game for the Brazilian team matchup. But awards, Chat, is this going to be leaders? Okay, MVP. Caitlin Clark is tied to be the league MVP. And again, she was, top 3 in voting last year, so it's not far off. We're not saying this in like a Jokic Embiid way, but there are narrative things that are, and, it's narrative things that she's achieved that have led for her to be in this spot. But, Year 2 favored to be MVP, chat. That's just crazy check line stuff to think about for any player in their career. Like, you think, even Mahomes, like, Mahomes didn't even play his first year. So year 2 was like the first year that, you had Pat Mahomes, like, even in a starting spot. Like, that's obviously the best, I think, early impact guy that I can think of right away. Because you think, like, of course, LeBron, I mean, steps right in and is awesome right away. But it's different than Mahomes taking his team to the Super Bowl in year 2, that first starting season. So, I guess that next season, of course, year 3 from Mahomes, you're like, well, of course, he's going to be favored to win the MVP. And then, he had some injury stuff as well, too, that kind of made that not necessarily the case. But her and Asia Wilson tied. Collier at 3rd is sneaky. And then you just got Stewart and Ionescu sitting here. Stewart at 12-1, Ionescu at 20-1. Sabali at 30-1, Alyssa Thomas, Kelsey Plum, Angel Reese 75-1. Chat, do we just sprinkle a little bit? Chat, maybe. Agumba Wale 80-1 with Paige Beckers as the co-star now in Dallas. Rookie of the Year favorite. Seemed like her initial preseason performance was, very positive right away. Chat, very efficient. Seemed like it showed all the, all-round stuff. You got her, I guess, at the same tied for odds. So you could just go maybe both Dallas players and see. Again, we need to make the all league teams, all WNBA, all NBA. Jewel Lloyd in Vegas, Jackie Young, Aguma K, 100-1, Griner, Aaliyah Boston, Jonquil Jones, Cameron Brink 150-1, Kelsey Mitchell, Kayla McBride, Brianna Jones, Dearica Hamby, Chelsea Gray 250-1. Chat, Skylar Diggins Smith 250-1. Rickea Jackson, 250-1, turns the Sparks around year 2. Is that the year 2 rookie? That might be the sneaky again if we could bet like a second team all WNBA. Like Rickea Jackson, maybe, second team all WNBA. Did she make an appearance at the NFL draft? I'm trying to remember, chat. I don't know if I was just envisioning that or if that actually happened. But, I guess we'll have to another excuse to find the draft rerun on Pluto TV and see if we can spot Rickea Jackson in there. But yeah, Beckers, minus 310. It's like locked in at this point. But Kiki Iverson, where did she get drafted to again, chat? Shout out. I'm a bad fan. Was she Mystics, I want to say? So maybe there's that going for it. That's just a young team all the way around. Yeah, chat. Miston's 4th overall pick. But as maybe a scoring forward on the inside, maybe there's some ability for her to get looks early on. And I guess the adjustment for that is definitely, maybe even more so for a guard. I guess, we'd have to get more knowledgeable WNBA people on here to explain that maybe a little bit more, knowledgeably than us. But again, they did have a good draft as well, too. Georgia Amore as well, who, let me see, chat, make sure that she is healthy and ready to go for the season. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I was like, okay, I thought I'd seen a post that unfortunately was like maybe she had went down with an injury. So yeah, she unfortunately looks like tore her ACL. So wishing a speedy recovery, of course, to Georgia Moore. Hopefully she's able to get back out there soon, because that's I think a really good impact player for the Mystics to have at that guard position. Just looking at some of those college numbers, chat. But yeah, that could be a potentially interesting one. I guess you got Citron as well, however you say that last name, chat. Sonia. Citron. Sonia Citron. Also as the 3rd pick. They had those back-to-back picks, I guess. 3 and 4. So I guess either one could be interesting, and maybe it's like they take away from each other kind of situation. And then I guess Anisi Amaro as well too, chat. A little WNBA draft refresher. Sorry, chat. We're trying here. We just didn't remember the exact order of where everybody landed. Okay, so she is on the Sun. So that could be an interesting one too, chat. And it is tied as well too. We'll get the NBA game back up in the background here. We're still paying attention, chat. Don't worry. Pazemski, Draymond, Steph. We got it. We're locked in. Dylan Brooks, I think, hit a 3 a while back. So, we're checking all the boxes right now for Rockets-Warriors playoff game. But, where are the... Oh, stat leaders, chat. Here we go. They have a whole section on the expansion team. First win? Yikes, chat. plus 250 against the Sparks. So I guess, a couple of favorable matchups there early on, a couple of other younger teams. But Sparks could be good, chat. I don't know. Just definitely a year two jump in terms of a feisty team, maybe. So scoring leader. So she's plus 300 to lead the league in scoring. So I don't know. Is that a better... I mean, it's better, I guess, in terms of, like, the fact that she's tied for MVP. Like, I guess you're getting the second scoring leader versus the number one MVP person. But, and if she leads the league in scoring, is she the MVP? Like, I don't necessarily think so. Again, I think there could be some of these other really, like, we mentioned I guess Sabali and, I guess Sabali's not on the Wings anymore. Where'd she go, chat? Is she in Phoenix now? But the Wings, they could be good. I guess Phoenix could be really good as well, too. If I'm thinking of that, whichever team Sabali ended up going to, they could be really. Of course, New York's going to be good again as well, too, and Vegas. So, what are the championship odds here, chat? The Fever are second. And I think the Fever are good as well, too. I mean, the score today could prove that. It could just be matchup stuff. But, DeWanna Bonner's a championship level player, like we're saying. I think they've already had some of those championship pieces on the roster. It's just making sure that, Caitlin Clark year 2, Aaliyah Boston year 3, the chemistry, the individual development, and all the pieces just continuing to form together. But yeah, Minnesota is third, Vegas down to fourth, so that could just be the value right there. Vegas plus 380, and then Phoenix is 17-1. So I guess Phoenix is on the outside looking in at this point, chat. Let's see here what the Mercury roster looks like. Nate Tibbetts in year 2 as the head coach. Let's see here. Kalia Cooper, Kalani Brown, Lexi Held, chat. Let's see any other names that we that we might recognize. Tamara Pondexter, okay, rookie out of Tulsa and Kansas State. So that's a drafting. They got 3 rookies on this team. Megan McConnell, I guess a ton of rookies, chat, on this team as well too. But Alyssa Thomas, okay, yeah, for sure. And Sabale. Yeah, okay. So, yes, Thomas, Sabale, and Cooper, and then maybe some young talent as well, too. Are you allowed to have this many people on a WNBA roster, chat? Or are there going to be some cuts? I guess we'll just have to keep an eye on the situation. And I guess, Kalani Brown as well, too. It's a strong top 4, chat. Again, I might not be able to speak on the overall depth of the team, but it's a strong top 4. And Seattle is, I think, in a position to be kind of feisty as well, too. The Valkyrie, chat, year 1, probably, championship, a bit of a reach at this point. But 3-point leader, okay. Caitlin Clark, of course, leader in that. Rebound leader. Angel Reese, chat, minus 370. Look at that. Angel Reese in the rebounding. She's got that category on lock. She's even more of a favorite, I guess, than Beckers as Rookie of the Year. Beckers was minus 310. Oh, chat, Caitlin Clark is the assist leader. Minus 400. So, Alyssa Thomas, the forward, chat, 5-1. Then Skylar Diggins-Smith at plus 3,400. Natasha Cloud plus 3,500. So this is where the value's at, chat. Honestly, if it's just, not even, you don't necessarily want to bet for worst case scenario, but like you never know what happens again in terms of just people qualifying for that stat leader board as well too. So, I get Ionescu as the assist leader. Chat, Becker's at 100-1 to lead the league in assists in year 1. It's a little crazy, but it's not too far off. Chelsea Gray, 50-1. Vandersloot, 50-1, chat. What's Vandersloot's assist number been at? I feel like she's in the 7 to 8 assist per game range, chat. Let's see, where is she at? Here we go. See, basketball, no respect, chat. Rodney Dangerfield. Okay, so 6 for her career, 4.8 last year. So she was 8 assists a game 2 years ago. Took a step back in minutes last year. Went back down to 4.8. But again, now she is in Chicago, chat. So her in a different look, maybe a different role in the team. Let's see what other guards they're working with. for Chicago this upcoming season. New coach as well, too. Let's see here. So, yeah, they got Vandersloot, Elizabeth Williams in the front court. Okay, yeah, they got Van Lith in the draft. That's right. Kia Nurse out of UConn. Rebecca Allen as well, too, chat. But, you know, they might really end up needing her playmaking on the team. IT, put that one in the books, chat. Call the accountant. Call the bookie. Let's get a little money on the Vandersloot 50-1 for assist leader. Again, it's like, you know, if we could have bet Vandersloot like top 3 or just her player like over, chat, wherever that might be. But yeah, interesting quick look, I guess, at some of the WNBA award possibilities. But first quarter winding down, Golden State still in front, chat. Uh-oh, turnover. Did we just jinx it? Tari Eason going coast to coast. Amen Thompson, there's a foul in there. No. Oh, is that a goaltend? Yeah, that has to be a goaltend, chat. It looked like that was try to bat it out of the basket type play. But either way, tied up. Timeout, chat. 17 all with just under 3 minutes left. So Steph tonight, let's see here, chat, how we've got the Steph performance going to start the game. He is 0 for 2. Uh-oh, chat. The defense early on. I guess I don't know if that's an uh-oh for the Rockets with Steph over 2 and the game is tied. Butler, or again, it is Draymond, chat. It is Draymond leading the team in scoring. Butler 1 for 2. 1 for 2 from the free throw line as well, too. So the last game, some of his free throw stuff early on was the main stuff for the offense. But Steph once again, and just, you know, we're Steph supporters. So Steph, chat, our first team All-NBA guy, going to get bounced in the first round after giving up a 3-1 lead. Would not necessarily reflect great on our vote there. But our hypothetical vote, I guess, hey, we don't give ourselves too much credit, chat. We're not delusional. We know it's hypothetical vote. But just either way, our vote into the universe, into the abyss, chat, for Steph Curry for first team All-NBA. It's like, hey, somebody out there thinks he had a first team All-NBA season. But ended 9 for 23 from the field, 6 for 16 from 3 total, chat. And you see those first couple of games, you know, 9 for 18 from the field, basically 50% through those first 2, but has dropped to 34% in the last 4 games. 34%, 34% for 3, 43% from the field. Still 24, 5 and 5 as well too. So still getting some of the box score stuff that you would like, chat. But yeah, excuse me. Last 2 games, like I said, the physicality has definitely been there. In the free throws, 5 for 6 from the free throw line is not bad. But yeah, 2 for 3 in the previous game. It's like, 3 for 3 as well too the game before that. Not really even making a ton of trips there as well. So, and has he even had a free throw attempt tonight, chat? Yeah, no free throws, just the 2 looks, and no makes so far. But +4, I mean, the gravity, all the stuff, we know that he is important. And Kuminga with 4 minutes as well, too, chat. We got to pay attention. Kuminga's in the game? Uh-oh. Steve Kerr's getting desperate, chat. Game 7, he's like, oh, no. We got to put all personal matters aside. Get in the game, Kuminga. Okay, fine. I cave. Steve Kerr finally caves. I don't know, is this Steve Kerr? I mean, Steve Kerr at the end of the day, he's a basketball coach. I feel like he's always trying to do what's best for the team, even if, subconsciously it is some personal vendetta stuff or whatever. Or I need to be right. Not necessarily I need to be right, but we all get kind of subconsciously / consciously attached, of course, to our own opinions and our own thoughts on how the stuff should work out. But at the end of the day, it's like Game 7 in a clutch situation. We just gotta win this game. Kuminga's got to play. We need his athleticism. We need his offensive ability, the two-way ability potential in this matchup against what the Rockets are able to put out there, chat. So we'll see if Kuminga is going to be an important piece in the second half, or if he's just trying to get some early minutes, or if he's just Again, experimenting in a Game 7 a little bit crazy, but Steve Kerr, he's an experimenter, chat. He's a bit of a Doc Brown. He'll be tinkering on the DeLorean all the way till a Game 7. 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He'll get you back in time. It may be sketchy. He'll get you there. He'll even get you, back into the present as well. But like, does this thing work? Did you figure this out yet? It's like, no, don't worry. I got it. It's like Steve Kerr. I was like, okay, fine. Kick the Kuminga piece into gear. It's like he said we didn't need the Kuminga piece. We need the Kuminga piece. But it's only the first quarter, 17 to 17. So I don't know. Maybe Steve Kerr doesn't need to get too dramatic at this point in the game. But yeah, chat. If Steph and a couple of the old guy stuff as well too, like Jokic himself avoided a weird sort of, and I guess hasn't totally avoided that type of legacy stuff. But again, they've got the Thunder matchup in the second round, and that could be an interesting matchup. I mean, we could definitely talk out the potential stuff for that game. But at the end of the day, I mean, I guess we're still probably well. I don't know, chat. I don't know. You know what I said in the Clippers series? You won't find me picking against Jokic. So I know that this Thunder team, the depth of this Thunder team is pretty crazy. And, their ability to show up in a game versus the way the Clippers did might be just a little bit more trustworthy. But you just can't count out Jokic. In any of these scenarios, the Nuggets, the team around him is playing well right now, too. So we can't. It's not going to be a short series, Chad. I don't think the Thunder. I don't know. I guess I was going to say we could tell by game 1, but you never know. Jokic. I was going to say the adjustments the Nuggets can make, but we know Jokic is coaching the team at this point. Jokic is going to go in and make adjustments for game 2, and then we just, I guess, can't write those off for whatever he's going to cook up. But it's much more understandable, of course, even if they get to a game 7 and lose. I mean, you never know. I guess we'll have to let the series play out and see what kind of storylines we end up getting, of course. But again, I think at the end of the day, there's an understandability if they end up being, coming up short in this series. But that Clippers series, as much as the Clippers were feared, you're like, okay, round 1, you're probably going to, if you're Jokic, MVP of the league, potentially, or, second in voting, whatever, all-time great player, you're probably going to want to get out of this round 1. And then to get into a game 7 at home, there's some interesting legacy stuff that was on the line for him. And again, with Steph, like, he's injured in this playoffs. I mean, chat, the behind-the-back pass to Buddy Hield, or a little flip behind the head, a little Ginobili-esque, reminds us of that Ginobili to Danny Green pass in the corner that one time. This time, of course, Steph to Buddy Hield. I mean, it's all the same, right, chat? Ginobili, Steph, Danny Green, Buddy Hield. The comparisons are similar all the way around, I'm pretty sure. I mean, you guys remember, right, when Steph Curry was first emerging in the NBA, it was like, this is the second coming of Ginobili. I mean, we were all saying that, right? I guess we don't even need to joke about that, chat, because Ginobili has Ginobili has actually legendary player comps. Ginobili himself, of course, a legendary player, but has also paved the way for players to build off of his game in a legendary way. It's like, we don't need necessarily, force a Steph Curry Ginobili comparison. There's other guys. Is some of the Ginobili, chat, again, the art of the beautiful game, maybe all the guys in NBA that followed the Spurs have not necessarily taken the right pieces from that, but some of the attacking guys to going to the basket stuff that Ginobili was doing, of course. And I mean, even Ginobili was, I guess, who invented the Euro step, chat? Kiki Vandeweghe. Like, even Ginobili was building off of, some stuff. Ginobili, second coming of Kiki Vandeweghe. So, pause. But the basketball reincarnation of Kiki Vandeweghe, I guess. And again, they're like, Harden, of course, early days was like, next Ginobili. I think, of course, even Luka, again, with some of the ISO attacking stuff chat! In the half-court 3 from Buddy Hield, is that going to count? I think that goes. A couple of big buckets for Buddy Hield to end the quarter, chat. Another performer that, for as much as Steph 0 for 4 today and a couple of assists, again, you see the impact. He's still got the highest plus-minus of anybody on the court so far. But a couple of clutch performance by some role players, chat, with a little bit of a lead here to end the first quarter. And, not to glaze Steph in an 0 for 4 first quarter, but in only 2 assists as well, 3 rebounds. I mean, he's pacing for a good box score game in those categories. And again, with the ball movement stuff, like as Steph continues to, and I know that we're not, with some of these legends, like even we were saying with LeBron as well too, like we're not always going to be on the up and up with these legends. Like as much as their minds can continue to get better as basketball players, and the more they learn, it's like the more dominant they would be if the athleticism keeps up and all that stuff. Like at some point, of course, there is going to be a drop off for these guys. But at Steph, at this point, it's like his ability to now, I mean, you're seeing him impact a game without even hitting these shots. Like, again, I'm having to like keep looking at the box score to remember, like, oh yeah, he hasn't hit a shot tonight, because there were games, even in the games that in those series that they were winning the title, like, and you even go back to those series as well too, like the role players, of course, were Steph had amazing games in those, like that first Cavs series is what I'm thinking of as I'm talking here. But like in that first Cavs series, he had amazing games in those playoffs, and ultimately should have probably won Finals MVP as well too for that series. But for as much as Iguodala was representative, winning the Finals MVP was representative of his performance, of course, against LeBron, it's like maybe also a little representative of the supporting cast as well too, that was able to help them win that. Like Sean Livingston was awesome in that series. Barbosa, chat, was just like an awesome playoff performer for him as well too. And like you could get some good moments from Maurice Spates as well, potentially. I mean, I'm just also like, this is a pro Maurice Spates pod, so make no mistake, we're going to speak highly of the man's career. But who were the bigs in that run? Bogut, Festus. I guess Festus Ezeli got cooked by LeBron a little bit in the next finals. But regardless, you had these good role players stepping up outside of Steph, but there were still some moments where it's like, okay, if he's not, and again, Steph has always had the gravity thing that has worked, which is why he's been such an impactful player, even when the shots aren't falling. But some of the, how else is he impacting the game if the shots aren't falling? And again, not that you would ever take Steph off the court, because he's just such an impactful, again, gravity guy. But it's just like, okay, what does that look like when he's not hitting shots? And you see now his ability with the playmaking and the rebounding and the toughness, and I think even some of the defensive stuff, like, and again, are we not starting on the downhill side of things, but the athleticism stuff, is it like, because I think even like that 22 finals is still that perfect sweet spot, like that 18 finals for LeBron, or even the Lakers finals in the bubble as well too, or whatever, a couple series after that as well too, where it's still that sweet spot of like, oh man, you're still like peak LeBron athleticism, where now LeBron's still clearly one of the best, strongest, most dominant athletes in the league. But, you see, there was a clip going around of Reeves throwing a lob to LeBron, and it's like, okay, I think the caption on the clip was Reeves was throwing the lob to 2009 LeBron, and he's like throwing this sky-high pass that, I mean, make no mistake, he would have gotten back in the day, and, still able to get the lob, and like, okay, there's a layup attempt and all that stuff that's still there. But it's like, okay, obviously there's still a different factor to the game, the durability aspect as well too. You're seeing some of the conditioning stuff with him maybe get a little bit, what does that look like for a full season into a playoff run going forward as well. But we're still in that kind of sweet spot years with Steph, so I guess they got him on Jabari Parker right now, chat, to prove our point that he's a lockdown defender. They said, let's go ahead and you can guard Jabari. But again, the Buddy Hield minutes are going to be big, and I guess pods as well too. It's like, in theory, either of those guys, but you got both of them with efficient performances so far. Again, Pod's only 1 for 2, but neither of them have turned the ball over as well. I guess Steph has Steph and Draymond with the turnovers. And Kuminga in his 4 minutes is -2. So that's it, chat. Kuminga, those were his 4 minutes for the game, probably. But you've got Moody, that we know you can go to, and he's going to have to go to, I mean, it seems like they want to try Quentin Post. Is Quentin Post in the game right now? We don't have the on-the-court screen up. Is that him in the corner? The closed captions are covering him up in the corner. Yeah, I think that was him over there, chat. IT, can we get the closed captions off for the game? What are we doing here, chat? Exposing ourselves for the movie we had on earlier this morning, but so yeah, I guess we'd rather read. We also need to read Stan Van Gundy's thoughts as well too, chat. We got to make sure that we're really, hey yo, pause, digesting everything that he's saying. If somebody's gonna be digesting between us and Stan Van Gundy, chat, it'll be us. Hey yo, Yikes. Shout out to Stan Van Gundy. We're a pro Stan Van Gundy pod, chat. Make no mistake, we're keeping an eye. The Rem and Sam, if Rem and Sam ever gets rights to, I mean, you know, NBA chat, but maybe some Big 3 games, broadcast a couple of Big 3 games, we'll hit up Stan Van Gundy and see if he wants to call some Big 3 games. We'd love to have a working relationship with Stan Van Gundy as announcer for Rem and Sam Plus. That'd be awesome. I don't know if that's where, you know, Stan Van Gundy's necessarily got his goals set, but you never know, chat. Yeah, you never know what careers Stan Van Gundy's, you know, what turns it could take. Hopefully, you know, hopefully for his sake, I guess. The man stays with TNT. He's probably pretty happy with his job. But, Butler with the back cut, chat. You see the experience. Even, again, a guy like Hield has been around a little bit. NBA minutes. I guess, you know, the Rockets have their Buddy Hield equivalent. It's like it's not Buddy Hield. You know, it is Buddy Hield. But it's not like we would say, oh, Buddy Hield's playoff experience is what is helping them win this game. Like, ultimately, you know, it's Steph and Jimmy and all that stuff. But, you know, I get, does Buddy Hield have more playoff experience than Van Fleet? And Van Fleet's playing nice tonight as well, too. He's been a big player. Maybe that's what the graphic was. Maybe it wasn't even Sven Goon versus Jalen Green. Maybe it was Sven Goon versus Van Fleet. It's like, oh, you know, again, I think we trust Steph and Jimmy a little bit more in that combo. And is that Jimmy for 3, chat? I feel like Jimmy with the 3-point. Oh, no, that's Buddy Hield again. Shout out. I thought Montel Jordan was fighting for a second, but it's Montel Jackson. So it's like Montel Jordan's ranked 15th in the UFC in the bantamweight division. But no, Montel Jackson, chat. Montel Jackson. But, oh, yeah. We're all distracted now. Buddy Hield taking threes, not Jimmy Butler. But Jimmy Butler has been, I think, a little bit more opened up with some of the, with some of the 3-point shooting stuff as well, too, since he's arrived to Golden State. So we'll see what the minutes look like for him and Steph as well, too. Steph at 15, him at 14. Draymond at 13. I mean, Draymond's probably going to get some foul calls here later in the game as well, too. So, one foul in the second quarter has been pretty good. And it feels like in general, you have 5 fouls so far. 1 foul for Houston. Okay, so Houston's been pretty foul clean. I guess, you know, that means 6 fouls for the game. You know, both ways, that's ultimately not too bad so far through. It does seem like it hasn't been necessarily slowed down too much by the whistle, though I think there's been times where, again, the physicality of the Rockets, the Warriors haven't been too happy with that. But, I think maybe Steph's, and I know, you know, again, looking at some of the numbers, but just trusting him to hold up to some of these physical matchups right now compared to those earlier days. Like, there's the box out on Dylan Brooks. Chat, the rebound. Now we're starting the fast break. Buddy Hield on the wing. Steph on Amen Thompson. Watch him cook, chat. I feel like Steph wants to get the 3 just to prove the point. Oh, Van Fleet with the switch. Van Fleet, I feel like that was kind of an easy switch, chat. Amen Thompson could have fought through that one. He got it to Looney on the roll, and Looney ends up getting the layup, chat. But either way, Amen Thompson, just defense in general. Like, maybe he's, I know, you know, like, okay, is he going to affect the pass on Steph? But those are things that happen, chat. Those are things that happen. Does he make those looks and does he make that 2-man game just a little bit more difficult? But in Steph, of course, as well, too, not looking to force the issue. I mean, again, the playmaking, chat, just Looney right down the middle, drawing the double team, Steph. Looney gets the foul that time. So no assist for Steph on that one. Did he get an assist the last time? So he's up to 3 assists, 5 rebounds right now, chat. Still 0 points. So I don't know if he's got the LeBron-level double-digit streak that is going right now. But, again, you see the playmaking. And you see him start to run more stuff with him, getting him on the ball as well, too. Like, they were running him off the ball early, so it's like, oh, he's going to off the ball and pass. But now he's, you know, creating some more stuff out of the ISO here in the second quarter. And Steven Adams in the game now. We haven't really seen, I feel like, his rebounding be as effective in this game either. What's he at, too? Yeah, 11 minutes. Only 2 rebounds in 11 minutes, -6. So that dynamic was something that they were trying to figure out. And it seems like his impact is not. I mean, the whole bench, chat, hasn't been able to make a shot so far for the Rockets. That is tough. And again, Tari Easton's had some looks in transition. And Jabari Smith literally has Steph Curry on him. So that could be a potential, a yikes moment for the Jabari Smith sort of value team building stuff that is going forward. And our guy Montel Jordan Jackson in the rerun chat, up 10-9, they're saying on the tweets, round 1. Uh-oh. He's on the ground right now, though. He doesn't quite... this Marcos guy doesn't quite have his back, but he's making life difficult for him. Jackson's fighting back, too, though, so shout out our guy. He's not even sweating, chat. Not even sweating. But pods on Amen Thompson? Okay. Butler, don't get an easy foul on Van Fleet. Van Fleet! Crafty getting to the rim. So there's another foul on Golden State. Oh, no. No foul. I think ball just out of bounds going back to the Warriors chat, or back to the Rockets, sorry. 24-33, so a little bit of a cushion here that they built in the second quarter. But yeah, chat, anyways, with that Nuggets game that we were talking about with Jokic, because again, he lost that game 7 last year to Minnesota, and as much as Jokic is brilliant, and as much as Jokic, he was, that was kind of a tough game for the Nuggets just in general. But Jokic, kind of that whole series wasn't necessarily, and you're just picking out one point of the game, be like, Jokic had a bad series. But, I remember the 3-point shooting wasn't necessarily there for the entire series. Here, let's go back and check chat. Let's see. So there's the series they won against Minnesota. So yeah, here's the 7-game battle. And 3 wins in a row in the middle of the series. I forgot exactly how the games were laid out there initially. And yeah, you see, chat, 2 for 10 from 3 in that final game. So 11 for 18 from the field. He put up a 34, 19, and 7. So it's not like you're looking at that going, okay, bad game by Jokic alert. But you've also got the 0 for 4 for 3 at Minnesota, the game before that, 40-13. Again, the raw box score numbers are always going to look good for Jokic. But just those last couple of games, and it wasn't even the 3-point shooting necessarily, but if I remember correctly, oh, chat, we got a hair in the mouth. If I remember correctly, they were kind of giving him that 3-point shot. So he wasn't necessarily capitalizing, and he was allowing the Wolves to kind of still continue to play the right defense that they wanted to play on the rest of the Nuggets squad. It was like, hey, we kind of have to give up these Jokic threes. And again, he wasn't really able to make them pay, going 2 for 14 in the final 2 games, if I'm remembering some of that correctly. Or, he just got a bunch of open looks and wasn't able to, whatever it was. It felt like there was the threes that he was taking as well, too, probably should have gone in. It wasn't like he was taking crazy contested step back threes every time as well, even though there's probably a couple of those in there. But in that game 6 in Minnesota was the dominant blowout performance by the Wolves that I'm thinking of. That game 7 was, I guess, a little bit closer on the final score than I remember. But again, it would be a weird thing for Jokic, and I think even still looking forward into that Thunder series, still a weird thing for Jokic to go. And it's also a weird thing with Giannis as well too, chat. And make no mistake, we'll glaze Giannis here in a second, but with these best players that we have in the league right now, because again, make no mistake, Jokic and Giannis are the 2 best players, not just in the league, but they are probably the 2 best players of this, I guess, if we want to say the 2020s, because Giannis started winning the MVPs in 2018. I think maybe it was his first MVP, because he won those back-to-back and then won that finals MVP in that 3rd season. And then Jokic, of course, did the similar thing. But whatever sort of this last 5 to 7 year run is, Jokic and Giannis have been the 2 dominant peak players that have defined this era. Again, in terms of the on the court stuff, I know there's the marketability conversation, the face of the league conversations that we've been arguing about, and LeBron and Steph and KD and some of these older guys are in the mix, and Ant and Wemby and Luka and some of these younger guys are also in the mix. So that's a weird legacy thing with Jokic and Giannis as well too, where it's like as players where their careers, where their peaks sort of lined up with all these legends and then these new guys. Those other guys, Giannis and Jokic are legends as well too in their own right, as we're saying. But just as where their careers fall in the NBA timeline, there's a weird sort of how does their basketball talent reflect with their status as the face of the league type guys. But again, as the two best players in the league, like, Steph, like we're talking about the 3-1 finals, like, again, he lost the 3-1 in the finals. Like, he lost a 3-1 playoff series. He had some playoff scars, some playoff moments, but he was having those in the finals when he emerged at the peak of his powers. And then the only other, like, down season that they had, like, Steph Curry was just out, and then they missed the playoffs. And then they got, I guess, they got bit in the play-in games a couple of times as well, too. So that's a weird thing for Steph, where it's like, I guess, he's not even in the playoffs because he misses. So he's not even getting the Jokic, losing early in the playoffs, quote unquote, because he's getting bounced in the play-in game. But again, like, Steph in the playoffs, usually, and I guess we'll see what happens here, chat, but at the peak of his powers, when Steph was, Steph, the best player in the league, conversation with LeBron, wasn't losing early in the playoffs. LeBron obviously wasn't losing early in the playoffs, literally made the finals 8 years in a row. And for much as we can debate, like, the East was weak, all this stuff, like, yeah, Jokic, that Clippers team is really tough. And now he's got to face this Thunders team, like, through again. But LeBron, again, his greatness is confirmed by the fact that he just every year should have won these playoff series and did. And just constantly was like, you're not better than LeBron. Well, guess what? You're not going to beat LeBron in the playoff series. So ultimately, we're probably going to look back at what happened in the playoffs last year with Jokic and go, oh, that's Anthony Edwards, and how great Anthony Edwards became as a, and is becoming. Of course, we all know that his storyline is just going to continue to, get better and better as a player, and him as a talent as well too. But, that probably becomes more of an early, like, Ant Edwards. He took down Jokic in this playoffs, and then the next year he took down Luka and LeBron, and then, whatever he continues to do. And then next year, chat, when unfortunately he, like, loses to Wembanyama in the playoffs. But, he's probably going to end up taking down Wembanyama in a playoff series at some point. Hot take. Anthony Edwards may get Wembanyama in a playoff series. I wouldn't be totally surprised if it happened. But, again, it may not be like Jokic collapsed in that series. But still a bit of okay, they lost in the second round, Game 7. Jokic is the best player in the league. And then to follow that up with the next year losing in the first round, coach, the dysfunction, it just becomes a weird stretch where, again, he got the title. And I think every year with Jokic, and there's some weird health stuff, and the health stuff as well too. Like, you can go through each season and be like, Murray injury, Anthony Edwards awesome, this happened. Like, it's not necessarily, again, Jokic's fault that they lost early in the playoffs every year, but it's just a lot of early, a lot of potential early playoff exits. And same with Giannis as well too. Again, Giannis has been injured himself, so it's a little bit more direct. Like, instead of the people around him getting hurt, like, he hasn't necessarily been there. And then this year, again, with, like, literally what do you do in that last game? Like, I guess Giannis can get maybe a little bit better shot at the end of the game, but Giannis is literally doing everything he can to power this team in the playoffs. And it's just not enough to get past this Pacers team, which, again, just took down Cavs team that was the best team in the regular season in that Eastern Conference. And Jokic had a moment in the first quarter where he was like, did he have an offer in the first quarter? Or, pretty close to that for a second there. I guess they'll have the quarter-by-quarter breakdown here at this point because the game was last night. But in the first quarter, this game was close, and even for a little bit in the second, yeah, James Harden, of course, not brilliant first quarter. But Kawhi, chat, look at that. 22 points. Of course, I don't think it loaded. Yeah, there we go. 4 points. I was like, that doesn't seem right. 22 points in the first quarter. I was like, I rewatched this morning. I don't think he took 13 shots in the first quarter. But, yeah, Jokic was 0 for 5 in the first quarter. Braun, 4 for 7. Murray was 0 for 2, but Porter Jr. was 2 for 3 as well, too. So you had these role players emerging. And it's like, okay, well, that makes the Nuggets scary if they win this game based on the talent of their role players, and then Jokic doesn't have a great performance. But again, another weird thing for the Jokic legacy thing. So, I guess I'm still, even at this point, debating on what I think this Thunder series is, what is really going to happen here from a matchup standpoint. Because again, just the Thunder's bench is just so much better, obviously, than the Nuggets bench. And at some point, that depth is an issue in, the Thunder, if they just have 2 starting fives that they can basically throw out there, and one obviously, has Shea in it and Jalen Williams and Chet, and it's a great lineup. But if they just have this insane 10-man rotation, 9-man rotation that they can put out there in these playoff series, and just the unlimited possibility, it seems like, of guys that can just have great games, and Shea in his own right as just this amazing superstar player having this amazing season, like, there's obviously a lot working in their favor. But again, we're talking about playoff swagger. Like, that's really the thing I want to see from the Thunder more so against the Nuggets. It's it all goes hand in hand, like how they carry themselves versus how they play in the game. But it could be a close game as well too. Like, I'm not saying I need the Thunder to go out there and eliminate the Nuggets just right away in the first quarter and just lay the smack down and have that great game. They're going to be at home. They're going to be rested. So it's definitely a possibility that happens. But the playoff swagger that they have, we're seeing Murray now off a Game 7 win. Jokic, I mean, we know that he is the best player in the world. So the Nuggets, I think, have playoff swagger back, chat. Westbrook was cooking in that game. What did Westbrook end up with? 16 and 5 for 9, 2 for 4 from 3. Like, he actually had a good game, chat. Westbrook, quit hating on Westbrook. 16, 5 and 5 in a Game 7, chat. Great performance from the field. Hyping up the crowd, getting a technical at the end of the game. He's hyping me up just thinking about it, chat. Only 2 turnovers. I mean, come on, chat. What a great game by Russell Westbrook. But yeah, again, just everybody else as well too. 52% from the field is a great performance. And the Clippers ended up at 47, 29% from 3. Obviously, just even 19 points. What did the final? Oh, chat, there it is. We had to close out everything at some point here on the live stream. Even that, 19-point game was even a little bit better than it was because it was in the 30s, obviously, at some point. And it was like the game started around, 6:30 here in the Midwest. And by like 7:45, you're like, oh, this game's over. The Clippers aren't winning this game. Like, not only is the score too big for them to probably come back, but they're checked out of this game. And then Ty Lue had the people. Again, there was like 19, so it was like, I think they did cut into it a little bit. Maybe it was like a 20-point game with 5 minutes left, so maybe it was a 30-point game. I don't remember exactly. But there was a moment where it's like, okay, he definitely is pulling the starters maybe a smidge early. Like, this is definitely a real white flag moment, more so than just like in a game where it's like, live to see another day type of thing. And yeah, you see, I guess, the bench, just a late storm, of course, as well too. Kobe Brown, chat, a little light at the end of the tunnel. Kobe Brown, great performance in garbage time. But again, like, the Nuggets, by the end of this game, there's a real playoff swagger with this team, and you see the way Braun is developing. Porter Jr. is, I was going to say finding his consistency, but finding a way to show up in these moments where they need him. He's had a couple of big games as well too, and like we said, Westbrook. Is Westbrook going to have a great series against the Thunder, Chad? Who knows? Who really knows? He'll have that motivation of it's a former team, but obviously the Thunder are just a great defensive team and a tough matchup for everybody to go against. But again, I just want to see how they carry themselves in a moment against a guy like Jokic and against a team that, if the Thunder are, or if the Nuggets are out there in that full playoff mode, how are the Thunder able to respond? Or are they just, clearly this better team? And it's like, yeah, this is the scary team. Because maybe the Cavs losing today as well too against the Pacers is like, okay, this playoffs is kind of, there's an evenness there that we thought. I know that, we really, these 2 top teams were dominant in the season. And the Thunder, again, even more so than Cleveland, even though Cleveland's numbers were impressive as well too. Just the advanced stats from the Thunder, the two-way thing that they had this year was absolutely insane. But I cannot count Jokic out in that series. And Jokic, and that's the thing with the Nuggets as well too, why it's tough to pick them in a series, because you don't think that they can win any of these series in like 4 or 5 games, which is like maybe a rule of thumb for picking a team to win. Like, if you don't think that they can win it in 5 games, then they probably could, 7 doesn't really make a difference. Like, okay, there's obviously a better team at play here. But again, you have a guy like Jokic. We just saw it against the Clippers. Like, this is really turning into one of the most incredible performances that we're seeing from a player. And, the coach firing thing, who knows how that ties into the Jokic legacy piece of it, but it really does seem like as well too that was more front office stuff in a lot of these coaches firings. Like maybe Jokic had something to do with it, but maybe Jokic just got to the point where it's like, okay, that going on over there, we got to switch that up. Like that can't be happening. Because, again, it seemed like that dysfunction was really between those two guys. And maybe, again, it did carry over between the team and Mike Malone as well, too. It seemed like a little bit of a personality at times. And Steven Adams with the putback dunk. There we go, chat. His impact being felt finally with less than 2 minutes left in the second half. Down 12 now. Down, I guess, 14 before that dunk. But, oh, chat. Van Fleet flopping on Draymond. Draymond, a little taste of his own medicine. Hey, yo, maybe not even a flop. Draymond just. Do we need a replay, chat? What was that, like an eye poke, a punch? What just happened? Did he just get a technical for that? It might have worked. Van Fleet. Did he throw the ball at Van Fleet? What happened? Oh, Van Fleet hacked him, and he kind of in the follow through of. See, chat, nobody follows through the amount that Draymond does. So maybe he's just the most technically sound basketball player of all time, but he literally follows through on every movement that he does. Nobody flails, and it's like, okay, every time you flail, you hit the guy in the face. Every time you flail, you hit the guy in the nuts. Every time you kick him, you kick him in the... It's like, okay. There's guys that flail and miss. That's happened. Guys flail and just flop around. A guy will flail. Every now and then, Draymond, throw yourself into the stanchion. Actually just flop back on the court and do something like that. You need the counter flops. You can't always have offensive flops where literally like attacking flops. You need to have some defensive flops as well, too. You need to have some drawing the charge flops, some driving to the basket. And again, not the guy gets the foul on you and now you continue to lower your shoulder. Like, you need to get fouled a couple of times. You can't turn every time you get fouled into the guy also getting fouled. You need to balance out the perception. You need to pro Draymond flop a little bit. These are all anti-Draymond flops. And he's like, why me? Why me? It's like, well, you hit him in the face, Draymond. You hit him in the face. What do you want me to do? It's like, well, he's 6'2", he's short, his head's right there. It's like, Draymond, you've hit 90% of the league in the face at this point, pause. But what do you do? So, yeah, a technical foul, not a flagrant. I agree. I mean, I don't know. I honestly probably think that was worth a technical, but just slapping. I agree with just giving Draymond technicals for the way he flails around at this point, chat. We're not trying to throw the man out of the game. And, I'm not trying to, like, fine him, take his money or anything like that. But, we need a flailing, I don't know if this is a pause, but we need a flailing coach. Hey, yo, chat, that might be worse than a pause. I don't know if that's like some medieval stuff going on there. But, we need a flopping coach for Draymond that's like, here's how you flop and not always just punch a guy in the face. Because at some point, again, it becomes history more so than just, hey, it's not my fault. Why does this always happen to me? I don't know, Draymond. I don't know. Why does it always happen to you? But here we go. 90 seconds left. Maybe the Rockets can get this to double digits. Not by flying past the Buddy Hield three. Not by being undisciplined on the closeouts. Buddy Hield hasn't missed at all in the first half. And you're not going to stay down on the ground? 22 in the first half. Between Buddy Hield and Steph, they have over 20 points in the half. Chat, you'll take it. Obviously, Steph needs to maybe get that up a little bit as well, too. Amen Thompson passing up a little open midi. But he finds Steven Adams under the basket. So, Steven Adams hacked, fouled, but I don't know. Steven Adams free throws? Either way. So, I mean, good effort by Dylan Brooks. But, I mean, none of these NBA guys, I feel like, anyways, now, too, none of them, I guess it's not that none of them catch and shoot, of course, but a lot of them are looking for that second move, especially a guy like Buddy Hield, who's got a little bit of a ball, who's got a little bit of handle. Not, obviously, maybe a primary creator, but a guy who's looking for that, like Pods as well, too. Like, Pods, I think, is looking to get into that. I guess you know, some guys want to get a dribble down before they get into their shot. Like, they're actually looking for an excuse to go for that sidestep anyways, just so they can get the dribble down. Like, Heald and Pods both feel like they want to get dribble down type guys. So, you know, Brooks staying undisciplined there, chat. Ime! Coach him up in the second half here. Let's see. So, a free throw advantage for the Rockets is maybe the only thing keeping this semi-interesting at this point. 13 at the end as the half winds down here. Again, they can still... Single digits not off the table. Amen Thompson attacking, chat. There we go. I mean, just puts his head down. Bowls to the rim. Again, you wouldn't necessarily think of him as like a bulldozer type talent. And there we go, chat. Steph had to get one to go in the half. Third, just before we cross the 30-second threshold. The deep three. 1 for 5 from 3 on the field. And there we go. Amen again. So, honestly, that may be what it has to be. Not just... Amen Thompson, you know, the takeover as the individual and as the legacy point of it, but just the basketball stuff. Like, his ability to attack the basket may be the thing that actually works here in the second half. Maybe the thing that they need to continue to go to. Draymond in the corner, chat. Oh! Not a swish, an air ball. Yikes. Corner three. Draymond don't quite got that dialed in right. Oh, Pods! The block three from behind. Steph, the full court heave! Not able to get it to go, chat, but 51-39. Golden State up versus Houston as we enter the halftime break. So, not looking good for Houston, not looking good for Ime Udoka, but Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Buddy Hield, chat, maybe on their way to play the Minnesota Timberwolves in the second round. LeBron! 2009, it was supposed to be Kobe versus LeBron, and what happened? Dwight Howard got the win. 2025, it was supposed to be Steph versus LeBron. Anthony Edwards got the win. But maybe Steph holds up his end of the bargain, chat. It's looking like it, at least in this round, in this half against the Rockets. So, exciting stuff, chat. Let's take a quick break and more playoff action to dive into, of course. The second half of Rockets Warriors as well. On the other side, right after this.